it's really, really, really amazing. But hello everybody, and welcome once again to Talkin Guff podcast with myself, Ruben Django Pouch,
and myself, Lenny Leonardson.
As per usual, we have a real sweetheart on the technical ones and twos.
Do
you know the way I always say golden holy pony, but it's not, it's just holy pony, is it?
Yeah.
Where did I get the golden from?
Golden was my mother's name.
Oh.
Someone had taken holy pony.
Right, so check him out on the IG. Golden Holy Pony is his name. Golden Shower Productions. You like that? That's the porn wing of our production company.
The niche porn wing.
Just small dicks. Okay, so, welcome. Hey, Len, how's it going? How was your week, man?
Hey, Ruben, thank you. How was your week?
I expected you to answer first and then ask me, but seeing as how you just got straight into it, I'll tell you how my week was. My week was grand, I suppose. Well, there was a couple of things. I mean, I wanted to start by saying that I love the podcast, actually.
Yeah, man, this is
really, and I mean, almost
therapeutic.
It's like a therapeutic thing. I actually look forward to it, and at the moment, considering where everyone's at, creatively or. With the coronavirus thing, it's been a real lifeline for me, actually, I have to say.
It's like just a little crack in the wall that you can just sort of pour your, I was, even weeks before we were doing this, I'd be walking around my house, anytime I'd hear a bit of news or just be thinking my own thoughts, going, and it's going nowhere, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now there's a little, it's
release.
like, oh, remember that, actually, you might talk about that.
Yeah, and I find it just relieving release. It helps me to sort of, because it's always good to talk about stuff, and I get worried and I get anxieties, and then we come here and we talk about stuff, and I just feel better about it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Everyone should start a podcast.
Man,
they shouldn't, because we want to be number one, so we'll still be number one.
We're coming for you, Barack and Bruce. Yeah, Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen have got one. If Barack
of course
Obama
they have.
And Bruce Springsteen
of course
have
they have. They are the Illuminati. What's it called? Orphan Tears.
What do you
Welcome
think
to
it's called?
Orphan Tears with Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen.
Born in the USA. Orphan Tears.
Born in Kenya.
I think that's the joke. It's called Renegades Born in the USA.
Okay, right,
guess
cool.
They're making that joke or whatever, yeah.
What I will say is, yesterday I had an awful argument with my son, Louis, who was 8 years of age. But the kids are obviously going back to school at the moment, and Monday, Tuesday, what day is today? Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday was not too much problems, or there was a little bit of whatever, and we talked them down, got them into school, everything was grand. But yesterday, man, there was serious arguments, and it's awful. It actually knocked the shite out of me for the whole day, made me really depressed. Because this podcast, I just would like to say, is about relationships, and that's my most serious and fundamental relationship, and Louis gets the best of me. But even then, when I get to a certain... Because I'm not great at relationships, and that stems from my dysfunctional upbringing and my relationship with my father. But I then sort of I think I bring that forward a little bit. And I get to a certain point where I'm just like, where my feelings are hurt, and I go on the defensive. Even with my 8-year-old son, he gets the best of me. But even it's just like, after I've heard, you're the shittest dad ever, 2 or 3 times, I'm just inside, I'm going, no, you're the shittest son ever. No, it's really fucking upsetting, I'm not joking to you. And so that really knocked the shite out of my week. But apart from that, my week was A1. Do you mind just quickly if I do a little bit of housekeeping from last week?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So... I mean, one thing that definitely... I was coming in hot last week. For whatever reason, because I don't think it was the subject material that was really getting me going. It's just... I was coming in hot, and I suppose why I wanted to just talk about it is because this podcast is about relationships. And this, Len, for me, is a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's one actually that, and I'll get more into this as we go on, but it's one that I'm almost even a little bit insecure about.
But that's good in a way. I think all relationships that matter to you, you're going to be a little bit insecure.
Well,
about,
I might have an opposing thing that we'll get into in a bit, but definitely that's in this relationship. Sometimes I'm just like, what if Len thinks I'm an asshole?
Yeah, well, I think the same one. It's like, I'm like, what if Ruben thinks I'm a total fucking pussy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
it's mad, isn't it?
But literally, watching, when I went to watch that thing back, I was like, oh, I really hung Ruben out to dry there. I really made him look like a fucking crazy whatever.
Well, I thought Rob made the good point that it's the balance.
That's exactly.
And so I do like that. And like, see, because I mean, like, at the same, what I worry about is because, and that's what I am. Like, and I see myself going, hold on a minute. And I'm overbearing, and I can be control freak, and I can be, you know, and like me and Rob have been involved in a multimedia relationship for a few years now. I wreck his head. He can tell you. I'd be on the phone going, no, what are you talking about? Deadline's champion. I'm trying to get you over the line so in a few years' time you can really go somewhere. He's just like, no, you're just annoying me. I'm just trying to do something else here for a minute, Ruben. So again, as much as I don't want to come in hot, and I have to, because here's the other thing, is that I am also trying to use the podcast to facilitate how I operate in relationships. I'm trying to use it as a listen to learn exercise. Because I want to be better at listening. Because sometimes I just go, I do hear things, but then when one little thing goes, it's like a firework in my brain that just flies up to the top, to the forefront of my consciousness, and whatever, going, fuck everything else! Grab that, and talk about it, and shout about it. And so I have to work on that a little bit. And so that's what I just wanted to, on that point, I just wanted to sort of be going, I was coming in a little bit hot last week, I might have been a bit overbearing, I might have dominated the situation a bit, and I might do that a bit in general, and just, I mean, apologise is the wrong word for it, but just highlight it, identify it, and say, I'm always endeavoured to work on this.
I'm all about,
you know, of true acknowledgement, and let's just be transparent. And if you're going, look, Ruben, just step back there a minute, say it, and I'll step back a minute. Because on the housekeeping front, there was a couple of things, like, I was talking about pussy is power. And I wasn't, trying to be disrespectful to women. The opposite, I'm almost trying to be like going, you know, men are easily manipulated, and you should maybe have a go at that. But also, I wasn't trying to be arrogant, like going, just get yourself a lockdown, Peaceland. I was trying to be facetious. I was trying to sort of, and I was trying to just sort of move it outside the parameters of lockdown, because everyone's got their own individual truth or perspective on the situation, and are their own comfort level when it comes to involvement, etc., etc. But more my point was like, no, fucking stop talking about lockdown. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah.
I don't go. And I was talking about myself, I'm being facetious. Like, I was more trying to make the points, like, I don't wake up in the morning and go, yeah, I think I'll go out and get myself some pussy today, and then I'll go out and I get it. Whereas a woman, I'm pretty sure, can go, I'm going to get myself some dick today. And then you go out and get that dick. And therein lies the power. And I mean, no disrespect through that. It's just what I see.
You know what, though? I think there's a split between the two different, and this is, I don't know, maybe if this will come up today, but this is another discussion that is almost limitless, right? That there are the two different mindsets, okay, that I think particularly men have.
I'm going to try and do a bit of mirroring today, just to help in my listening to learn.
What is that? Okay, cool.
So when you say something, I might say it again, just to mirror it and really imprint it in my brain. That's for anyone who's done couples counselling, that's a communication tool.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mirroring.
Oh, it's like an acting thing, but we do it in dark rooms where no one can see us and you.
No, I do it right to your face, just so you know I'm in the conversation with you. So, sorry, continue.
Okay, so intense. I like it, though. I like it, all right. Well, so the two mindsets, right?
Yeah.
Like, for you and me, this is the thing. We don't understand it, and it's like with the Chris D'Elia thing as well, because even when I was watching back, and you're saying, but, you know, I want to just be able to say, like what you're saying, you know, hey, baby girl, look, I'm not going to be your boyfriend, but let's meet up and have drinks and have some fun. It's like, even that is a million miles away from the impression I have of what he was doing. I'm not even necessarily I'm saying he's of the other mindset, but I'm saying we would be of the mindset that when it comes to sex, like, and it comes to consent, like, you know, they say, hey, consent is sexy. I'm like, consent is where sexy comes from. It's where sexy lives. I can't imagine anything more awkward or unpleasant in the world than having sex with someone who doesn't want to have sex with me, right?
But even like, and that's what it's funny he's touching on that, because whatever about, and even take outside the constraints of rape, if I'm having sex with someone and it's consensual, and I think they're not into it,
yeah. Is that? I turn into it.
You like this? Am I doing it right? No, get me out of here. It's not worth it.
But in another way, I'm vain as well. I couldn't imagine having sex with someone who wasn't into it.
Of course this bitch likes it. It's me.
It's me, exactly. It's kind of like, oh, you're into this, so you're dirty, girl. You want to fuck this guy? Really? This face does it for you?
No holds bars. All bets are off.
But I'm saying we're of that mindset. So from that mindset, of course the woman has the power because she decides, she chooses, she says, oh, me fucking, okay, we're at the bar, we'll go home. Whereas the other mindset, right, is the Army Hammer fucking thing, is the taking off in the other direction where you actually get a kick out of sex with someone or sexual activity or getting off on someone's unwillingness to have sex with you, where forcing someone to do something they don't want to do is actually what gives you that thrill.
I just can't get my head around that.
I fucking
I just
absolutely
find that so
I'm
surreal.
so glad
because,
that
I mean,
I
and
can't
I know this whatever might sound a bit derogatory, but actually one of my favorite things to do in a sexual endeavor is eat a woman's vagina.
Oh,
I love
man.
it. And I think I love it because I want to sexually satisfy the woman. For me, and maybe that's tied into my ego. It's just like going, I want to sexually satisfy this person.
I would rather eat pussy than get a blowjob. If I had to pick one between the one or the
blowjobs,
two.
that don't really do it for me. They just make me want to put my willy in the vagina. That's what a blowjob does to me.
For me, man, a willy, I just want to say this, a willy is never a hard penis, all right? Like, a willy is just like, a willy is a soft penis before the age of...
My cock. My cock.
My quack. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but a willy is something you show a girl when you're 6 years old.
Right? But no, honestly, and so for the idea of like someone like almost like that, of it being a thing that it's almost... I can't get my head around someone who's sexually aroused or finds it horny for there to be any level of resistance.
Yeah.
I'm not... And like now, if I was with a woman for a while and she had a sort of like...
Oh, the domination thing, that's
or
absolutely...
she was like going, I want you to pretend like you're an intruder and you break in or whatever, and there's a bit of that role play shit. I'll be like, yeah, baby girl, if that's what you like.
If that's what you like, that's the whole
And I would
thing.
have to fully be like, I'd have to fully believe she like that. You know what I mean? It would just be like,
100%. I want to be your dog, man, as Iggy Pop said. That's
I want to be your dog.
not the fucking...
So, I mean, again, one other little thing, because I didn't want it to seem, and again, this comes from my insecurities to this relationship, within this relationship, is that Rob was saying last week about the book, your book. And I've mentioned before, I'm in awe of you, Len, and your achievements, the accomplishment of writing a book. And when Rob mentioned the thing last week, and I fucking jumped on it, I was hot then. I know I was coming in hot
but you
then.
were being funny as
but
well.
But at the same time, I just don't want you to feel like... my main point, the reason, again, I was trying to be facetious. Like, I wasn't... When I was like, are you entitled to? Because that's what people say, and I don't want to live in a world where Len can't write a book about whatever he wants, really.
Yeah.
And like, I mean... And so that was more my point there, and I was just trying to sort of highlight the ridiculousness of the situation.
What I brought to it though was my own, because I was actually glad when it came up, because I was like, since we were watching, like I said, I think during it, since we were watching the whole Sia thing, that's all I was thinking in my head was, of course, all you think about is your own personal shit, you know.
I know, but look, I think I know you a little bit. I'm pretty sure that you're not writing books to glory hole. Or, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you're trying to just accomplish the writing of a book, and I don't think you're a malevolent character, and so on and so forth. I've totally lost what I was going to say.
No, like, I would say that anyway.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's just like, I don't think it's fair that you, who are just trying to do art, should have to have that conversation and in a sort of panicked way in the back of your head. It's just like, I think the most, like, like, obviously, if you're writing Mein Kampf, it's a different fucking ball game. But if you're like, you know what I mean? For most people, the conversation should be like literally like this. Are people going to like this? Who knows?
Do you know what as
well,
though?
Do you want to make it? Yeah.
Do you know what as well, though? And I'd say this, and I don't know if this is even valid, but it's like the thing about being a sociopath or being a psychopath. And they say, you know, because, you know, I got mad into psychopathy, sociopathy. If you're watching loads of these documentaries, the psychopath test, whatever. And of course you start to think, am I a psychopath? Because one of the things is they kind of say you wouldn't know if you're a psychopath.
Well, apparently if you
ask yourself. That's exactly. So if you're asking...
Did you know how happy I was when I heard that?
Yeah!
It's like, cha-ching, I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly, as I continue to hacksaw through the... Yeah.
I'm really
they should really make these
here.
bin liners easier to tie. as you fuck the dog's head on the kitchen table. But hey, Army, yeah, I'm not doing anything this weekend. But
Have barbecue?
but I think I'm doing ribs. But the thing is, if you're asking yourself those questions, I don't know if that, I'm not saying that clears you, but you're definitely on the right.
Your Honor,
I asked myself.
Let me assure you, Your Honor. No, right.
I've already done 10 years in here, and yeah.
Anyway, either way, last week I felt I was coming in hot. Yeah, that's a little bit who I am.
It's good to
and that's
be,
part
yeah.
of the dynamic. And like I said, asked Rob, I've been wrecking his head for years with music videos and the cookery show, which we have to have a proper conversation about, Robert, as well. The cookery show. Okay.
You're the hot sauce, I'm the sour cream. I think that's, we both go on the enchilada,
So as we said today, today's podcast is about relationships. And in the interest of sort of trying to listen to learn, and in the interest of promoting our relationship or building our relationship, I thought I'd do my little monologue, which you've heard parts of before because it was on the Lost tapes, but it's something that I think about a lot and I think is important. And then I was going to sort of flip it on its head and turn it into a little, I have questions.
Cool, deadly, man.
Maybe that is going to aim towards you.
Excellent.
Now let me just say, we're springing this on you from the question point of view. None of the questions are meant to be like antagonizing or anything like that. And so if there's any questions that you're just like, just skip over them.
Yeah.
And again, you can flip any of these questions on me.
Okay. Cool. All right.
But I tell you, right, I was married, and I must be separated now. Nearly 3 years, maybe. I think maybe 3 years exactly, and I was heartbroken when it happened. Like I was really, really in a shit place. It was really, really hard for multiple reasons, and it made me have a look. Like there was a period of time there where I just used to walk all over Bray in the middle of the night and stuff like this. And I'm not sure to try and go, oh, poor Ruben, because I was a real dickhead towards the end of my marriage. I became probably the worst version of myself. It became a real toxic place, and I take my full responsibility for that. So I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to say that that's the reason I had a real hard look at relationships. I was so disenchanted with relationships. I was so heartbroken. It brought up a lot of the feelings that were manifested or were born out of my childhood and stuff like this. So it was fucking heavy time. But I definitely feel that it helped me to learn a lot about myself, or learn or what I thought was important about relationships, and have a good hard look at them, and sort of just come to terms with my own situation. And so that's something that we spoke about before generally. And actually that sort of time, I think when I was having a hard time, when I was really fucking all over the place, was around the time we started saying, that must be a year ago now, and I think the night is always darkest before the dawn, and definitely around that time I was just like, oh, what the fuck, like my head was spinning. But anyway.
As Leo Varadkar said,
that's
believe.
The quote.
He quotes that in one of those fucking speeches. Anyway, go on.
The catalyst, so basically, I've said before, I'm bad in relationships. I can be defensive. I actually can be a bit uneasy receiving love. And I'm a person who believes wholeheartedly in love. Or I'm a person who wants to believe in the romantic idea of love and being in love. But at the same time, when I'm in that situation, when people are nice to me or loving towards me, I get a bit like, going, what the fuck do you want? You know what I mean? Or what's your game? Or, I don't know. Another part of that is I'm definitely... And I know this from not only intimate relationships, but I'm hard to live with. Literally every person I've lived with, male, female, intimate, non-intimate, or intimate platonic, has had exception with the way in which I live with. Look, I'm disorganized, I can be messy, whatever. I'm hard to live with. I can see that. Not necessarily by looking at myself, but by listening to what other people have said over the years. So, one of the most important things I think in the world is for people to have a really good relationships with themselves, even love themselves. I'm a real advocate for the idea of loving yourself. And now I say advocate for the idea because sometimes, being honest, I don't even like myself. You know what I mean? Some days I wake up and I'm beating myself up. I'm insecure. But that's human nature. But I really think that the best way for you to get by in life is to love yourself, and not in some sort of, and I know, because they say the most important relationship you're ever going to have is the relationship with the self, and I 100% believe that, and I 100% think that me not loving myself enough, like in my marriage, was one of the reasons that it fell by the wayside, or it diminished or whatever. And when I say that, I don't mean be an arrogant dickhead who just wades through life hurting people and not looking at it because I love myself. I'm not talking about that. Let me just try and explain, say, for instance, if you don't love yourself, if you're uncomfortable with yourself, if you have insecurities about yourself, and you enter into a relationship, an intimate relationship, and this is the classic, I heard that point one finger, point three fingers back thing. That became apparent to me through counselling, both personal counselling, but I did a lot of relationship counselling when I was married, and communication stuff. And so what I noticed then is I started to project my insecurities, my shortcomings about my physicality, about, you know, what it is I provide, a lot, you know, across the board, mentally, spiritually, physically, I've been insecure. And then I start to project those insecurities onto certain situations. Like, and not only then project my insecurities onto the person, but onto scenarios, create scenarios that are actually just projections of my own insecurities and don't actually really exist. And if the other person is insecure and is doing the same thing as you, that's when you're in real big trouble, because what happens is you are both continuously projecting your own insecurities onto the other person. You're creating scenarios that don't exist via your own insecurities, and you create a toxic place, basically, full of resentment and full of stuff you don't want, full of stuff that will not lead to a progressive, fruitful relationship. I think, and I see very few of them around. I don't, and I'm cynical. Like, I don't see very many relationships that I think work. A lot of the relationships I see, I think, are people who are afraid to be with on their own.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, man. I've only just come over the hump of sort of being all right with the idea of being on my own, because the catch-22 of it is I want to feel connected to someone. And in spite of, like, when I, and like, that's only a feeling of when I'm connected to someone, then all these other issues come in, like insecurity, like the unease at receiving love, etc., etc. But outside of that, the idea of being connected to someone, I think that romantic idea of romance and love, I'm into it. You know, I like romantic comedies, always have been. And that also is come out of somewhere else as well, but we don't have to get into that. But the point I'm trying to make is that the catch-22 of it is, I don't think, when you long for a relationship, what you're doing is you're longing for someone to validate you, to fill a hole, or create, to fulfill you. But that's impossible. You can never look to someone else to fulfill you. You can only ever fulfill yourself. And if you look for someone else to fill that hole, therein lies the problem. Therein lies what will become a toxic environment, in my opinion. And the catch-22 of it is when you're in a place where you don't long or feel the need for that connection, that's the only time you're actually probably able for it. That's the extra time you're probably only really ready for it. And like I said, I think the relationships, and I know a couple of them, and they're literally a couple of them, the best relationships I see.
One couple. Sorry, yeah.
The best relationships I see are people who are that comfortable with, and it's not to say that they don't compromise. It's not to say that they don't try to change themselves in any way. Because one thing I'll say about when I got married, or when I started my relationship with Louis' mum, is that I learned a lot about myself. Like, I don't hold it all. Like, there's so much positive to it, but when people are comfortable with themselves, because sometimes we lash out, right? And so if you have insecurity and someone hits on one of your insecurities when they're like, "Oh, why don't you fuck off with that thing?" Because that's human nature, then it's not about what they said, it's about your insecurity all of a sudden. But the reaction is not a reaction to you and your insecurity, it's a reaction to what they said. And so I find that when people are totally comfortable with themselves, the little things, the little snide remarks and the little comments that are always going to happen don't affect you. So they don't go any further. You know what I mean? It's just like that person said that because they're under stress or duress or they think you're being a dickhead, and that's fair enough. But at the same time, because you're comfortable with yourself and you feel like you're walking your own righteous path, your own truth, it doesn't fucking get you right in the chops. You know what I mean? And that's what used to happen with me. It's like Zoe would say things and I would take them so much more personally than they had to have been taken. And that wasn't rooted necessarily, and that's not to say that that was always the case, but that wasn't rooted necessarily in mine and Zoe's relationship. But elements of that then became the fundamentals of our relationship as well. And that's when you're in fucking big trouble. The relationships that I really think work are two people who are comfortable with themselves, independent, and can receive and give love. And that's all, like, the more you love yourself, the easier it is for you to receive love, the easier it is for you to give love. And so that's why I think it's so important. And like I said, you see the relationships that work are people who are secure in themselves and therefore secure in their partnership, and they just flourish. They just become these fucking simpatico energy jobs that are fabulous looking, and I love to see it, but I fucking know fuck all of it.
Yeah. It becomes a thing, man. Not to cut you out. It becomes a thing. Do you want to be together or do you need to be together? Do you know what I
That's
mean?
100% it. Well, no one needs to be together.
That's
like if you're in that position, your relationship is going down. It's going to a place you don't want it to be. And like our parents' generation just went with that for 30 years and hated each other. My parents broke up 3 years ago. They spent 30 years. My poor mother spent 30 years, trying to help someone who was incapable of to help because he needed to help himself, and the resentment that created for her, like, it's just like, why would you do that to yourself? And I'm not having a go at my mum or anything or trying to criticize her. I'm just saying that was more a generational thing, whereas now people are like, well, we don't really do that anymore. We don't live in shit situations we don't want to be in. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. Only time will tell. But one thing I will say is that, and here's a reason why, or here I feel is a point in case to validate what I'm saying. The best relationships that and this is why I would argue that I don't believe insecurity or is a good thing for a relationship, because the best relationships, the most functional relationships that I have are the relationships I have in work.
Right, yeah, okay.
Across the board, I deal with people. What?
Purely functional.
Purely functional, and I deal with people better. And in fact, one of the communications thing I did said you should try and deal with your loved ones the way you deal with people in work, because that's an actual thing. But I know why the relationships I have in work are the best, because I'm so confident in work.
Yeah, right.
I've no insecurities about my job because I'm really fucking good at what I do. And I don't, and like this, when I go into a situation, like I'm in a situation right now, I'm working in the kitchen, I'm not there to learn, I'm there to teach. And that's not me being arrogant or egotistical. I'm saying this to these chefs, like, I'm not here to find something out from you. I'm here to show you something. But when I go into a kitchen where I can learn something, I'm not arguing with people. I just put the head down. I do the subservient yes chef thing. I want to know what this fucker has. I want to know that. And that's because I'm not insecure. My ego isn't getting in the way there and going, no, I know, I've got a deadly repertoire. I've been a head chef in the kitchen where I don't have the best repertoire, where I don't have the best technical ability. I was the best man for the job, and the chefs with the better repertoires and technical abilities would tell you that.
Yeah.
And so...
If the head chef orders you to do something, you blocked off the party bringers. Well, my dad used to shout at me like that. And, you know what I mean? You don't bring that in there. Like,
no,
and
I mean, and you don't bring in, like, I have been in kitchens where it's like, no, I wouldn't do it like that. Guess what, mate? It's above your pay grade. Shut the fuck up. You're not here to tell me that. And I don't mean to sound like an arrogant, egotistical dickhead. It's just like, you're not listening. You're not in learning mode. You're in ego mode, which is like, no, I know how to do that. I've seen that. No, shut the fuck up. This is how I want it done. And when I go into a kitchen, and I've been in them, like, and not, like when I went into, like the last kitchen I went into, if there's lads there who go, this is how we're doing this thing, and I've never seen that before, I'm going, yeah, show me that, bro, will you? Because my ego isn't going, no, you have to. And my insecurities aren't going, no, you have to sort of go, I know, I'm a good chef. It's like, I'm a good fucking chef, man. I don't have to answer that to anyone. I don't have the biggest repertoire. I don't have the most a repertoire of recipes or repertoire of technical ability, but I'm good. I know that. That's my confidence is there. So when I walk into a situation, and regardless of whether I'm there to learn or to teach, my confidence is there because the confidence to learn is there because my ego's not getting in the way, and like the confidence to teach, that's pretty easy because.
Can I offer you something as well, right? That potential when you go into work, and I just know this from any working situation or a lot of relationships I'd have with people outside the home are you know it's a little bit of a performance, right? Everything's a bit of a performance. You're pretty much even when you're alone in your room looking at yourself in the mirror, you're performing. You're performing
yeah.
some version of you, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there are moments where that breaks down. So when you go into work, you know you can invest in this performance because it's a very good performance and you always get a good fucking reaction for it and it works for everybody and you do good doing it and you feel good as a result, but you can leave it there when you walk out the door, right? Where's
I
a
can't do that, really.
relationship?
I'm not good at that either. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, just a relationship, you can maintain the performance for the first couple of months, but eventually, especially if you start living together, the shit's gonna slip. Do you know what I mean? And you're gonna, and that's where you're gonna, you know, the ego can't fucking be on the defense, whacking the moles all the time.
You see, this is the thing, and I say this to my son every day when I send him to school. I say, "Going, what are we gonna be?" And he's like, "I'm gonna be myself."
Whoa.
And I'm like, "That's it. That's all that matters." Because, and especially. And we do that. We try, and we spoke again about the woke before about the woke fishing thing. And men always are like trying to be the best versions of themselves when they first get into relationships. That's sort of what they do. And what I found really interesting about one of my favorites, Bobby Lee's, when he talks about when he got into a relationship with a super hot girlfriend, he didn't do that. He said, "I'm not doing that." He just was totally himself. Now he said he worked really hard. He fucking drove to Santa Monica every day or whatever. But as far as he shit in the backseat of his car. He was just a totally.
I don't think that's necessary.
But no, it's not necessary. But the point I'm making is that surely the only reason that we try to be a little bit of an elevated version of ourselves to impress a girl is because we're a little bit insecure about ourselves. So when you can no longer, and again, this is exactly what you've said. When you can no longer maintain that elevated version of yourself because it's not actually you. It's not you warts and all. It's just the shiny fucking beautiful part of you. Like, you can't maintain that elevation because it's unnatural. And so when it drops here, I suppose that's where the end of the honeymoon period. What, love is a drug lasts 18 months.
There's a Ben Stiller comedy about it, wasn't there?
What's it called?
Ben Stiller
Married
comedy.
and
He meets a chick at the wedding, I think.
No, it's at the honeymoon.
At the
and he
honeymoon.
starts like
The Heartbreak
dropping
Kid.
it, that's what it's called.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
It's actually quite good. Is it?
That's the
It's years
that's
ago,
the
but right, yeah,
concept.
and I mean, I get that, I see that, and because I'm insecure. Like when I was growing up, I never had girlfriends. I was fat, and my dad was a dick, and that really had a bad effect on me growing up, and I was really insecure, especially in my late teens, early 20s, and even up into my late 20s, even now, today, I'm still the same, maybe to a lesser degree, but like the thing about it is like. So I can understand, but that's always going to drop, and there's more importantly than anything. It's just like, because here's the thing: is if you want someone to love you, you want them to love you, not an elevated version of yourself. You want them to love the warts and all version of yourself, and they probably would have. But then I think that there's that because it's rooted in insecurity.
Dude, in a way though, I think a lot of people enter relationships not because they want this person to love the real them and not the idealized version of them, but because they think if they get with this person who loves the idealized version of them, then they will somehow be able to maintain that idealized version or even be that idealized version, and that is the wrong
that person. It's like the idea. So
way to
like
be.
that's like that. This person's going to make me a better person.
Exactly.
No, and I'm so glad you touched on that. Then the only person who can make you a better person is you. I see on Tinder. I'm looking for the one. You found a bitch. It's you.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I know that's.
That's the opening message I always use. Yeah.
I know it sounds hippy dippy or whatever, but it's fucking the real deal. And if you don't deal with it, if you're not comfortable with yourself, yourself, all the shit you want or you think you want is gonna fall apart in your fucking hands.
Now another person can help. Don't get me wrong, but
Another person can help, another person can be inspirational, and like the energy from being that, especially that, like the embryonic stages of relationship, like it's a different vibe. It's a different energy when you hang out with a woman.
Me and Len have a film actually kind of based on that.
oh what? All you need is love. He says love is just wanking off to your own reflection in someone else's eyes. All you need is you. That's pretty much like
Love it.
inflection perfect.
love
We've
that.
watched it so many times.
I love that.
But it's like yeah, like
Description.
it's a much bleak.
Oh,
much
speaking of
darker
which,
take
sorry,
on all this,
just
yeah.
a quick one. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have in the background here some beautiful pieces of art, and I bought this one actually, and I bought this one, and I bought that with it. Oh no, sorry, I got this as a present off the artist, and I bought this and another one, a Jamaican one, which I gave to Asia, off the artist.
And since then he just keeps fucking making them.
Well,
for
he
me.
just, because I said to him, so it's Ben Barry, my cousin, Benjamin Barry, he does, and I think it's benbarry.art or something on Instagram. We'll put the link in the description. He makes these, so we're plugging them basically, he makes these paintings, we love them and we think they look great here behind our thing. So, well, look, I tell you what, right, let me just wrap up that little monologue by saying I really implore people who want to enjoy a serious relationship, who even just want to be happier, I guarantee you, the way to achieve that is to love yourself, is to work on the relationship with yourself and your own insecurities. It's the only way, I really believe so, it's the only way to enjoy serious positive relationships, and not only intimate relationships, that includes, because I touched on there, my son, 8 years of age, gets the best version of me, the best, and I work really hard on that version of me, because I don't want to end up in a situation like I'm in at 36 years of age where my father's estranged from me. I don't want to know him. That would kill me. I'd commit suicide if that was the case in 20 years' time, 26 years' time with my own son. And so for that, and I'm not faking. I mean, again, sometimes you have to. As a parent, there's a term called fake it to make it, because sometimes you want to just fucking, like, drop kick them out the window, and you can't. You've got to go, look, mate, it's all right. I'm with you.
And you
I'm with
can't. I've learned that much.
And so, again, it's not just about intimate relationships, it's about across the board. I think things are going to work for you better if you treat yourself a bit better. You know, and that's all very well and good for me. Like, technically a drug addict, and so I'm obviously not in a place where I love myself, where I wouldn't need to transcend all the time by smoking joints non-stop.
Self-medicating.
And I do that.
say,
I
yeah.
have bad coping mechanisms, and I learned them from my father, and I learned them years ago, and I do have bad coping mechanisms, and yesterday when I had a bad day with Louis, I employed those bad coping mechanisms. But it is what it is. I'm, trying my best to work hard on myself. But for anyone who's maybe younger, for anyone who maybe, hasn't gone so far down a path of not loving yourself, I implore you to love yourself. Be less insecure about yourself, because you will not project those insecurities onto other people that you care about and fuck it up.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick piss break, and then it's just question time. All for you, Len.
Gimme.
It's question time.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, dear.
like I said, Len, any of the questions you're a bit like I'm setting it up like they're real tough,
Oh, yeah.
but they're not. It's just,
I'm
they're
gonna-
personal. That's the thing. They're
gonna be on a
personal,
timer.
potentially.
Oh, sure,
And
man.
if they're
Jesus.
too personal or it's something you don't want to get into, you just say that. It's okay.
No
Or you
problem.
can flip them on
Talking
me.
personal shit. No fucking problem. He says.
So I suppose before we get into the idea, questions about intimate relationships, because there's not only intimate relationships, and there's not only ways, intimate relationships are not obviously the only important relationships you're going to have in your life, and the parameters are sort of the same though as well. Certain parameters are sort of the same. Like, what is your relationship with your parents like, Glenn?
It's a good one. Yeah, it's really good. Like, actually, really, really good.
Great.
Like, I'm living back home at the moment. I have been since kind of just before lockdown.
Yeah.
So we're like, now we're not all up each other's shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, my dad
Yeah.
isn't walking into wherever I am going, what's the thermostat in here? What's 6 down? You know. But we have dinner. We've had dinner pretty much every night for like a year now.
That's great.
And we're all up, and we know we manage each other really well. Do you know that kind of way?
Cool, because it's not easy.
No fucking
As-
ways.
and
And I don't want to say at all like it's a perfect relationship either, but there's a minimum of kind of toxicity or anything like that.
That's
to it,
great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I live at home with my mother. Obviously, it's just me and her. I've been living here since I got separated. And yeah, it's not easy all the time. It's not easy for her. Like I said, I'm hard to live with, and she's a 65-year-old woman. And obviously, sometimes she's just like, you're a fucking nightmare.
See, dude, I want to say this. You say you're hard to live with, but then compared to what? You've never been anyone else. I think everyone gets told or gets the impression that... Can you imagine somebody going, you're really easy to live with? You'd feel like nobody. It's like, what, am I, a ghost? You're
think I would like that.
I hardly notice you're there, yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah, okay, maybe I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're a nothing.
Yeah. It's like when you have like living with someone is it's like the performance is constantly slipping because it's like when you have flatmates. It doesn't matter how well you get on, you're still like, oh, that cunt is in the kitchen. Fuck, I really need to go to work. I guess I'll just have to have something on the way because I'm not going down there and having breakfast. I can't face this guy, yeah.
And then, tell me this. Oh, 'cause I was going to say something. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one brother, yeah.
One brother, older or younger? Oh, yeah, because this then... Okay, older. You're 28 then.
Yes. Well,
and so what age is your brother?
He'll be 30 next month.
Okay, so it's just a couple of years in it.
Kind of a year and a half. I think that's still technically Irish twins. Is that what they say, or is Irish twins like less than a year separate?
No, because I think I'm not 100% sure. I just thought Irish twins was like. I thought it was more about two brothers who weren't twins being like twins, but then.
No,
it's the close. No, you're right. It's the.
In other words, I think the crucial.
Have you seen Twin Town?
Twin Town, no.
Never seen Twin Town?
No.
Rhys Ifans' first movie, and it's his brother in real life is in it as well. He never made anything else. That guy, he's in the fans as well.
I thought his second name was Evans.
Who? Evans?
No, it's Ifans. Ifans.
I know it's Rhys Ifans. I thought the other guy was.
But
I think they're brothers in real life. Will you check that first?
Evans would kind of be the more
Twin Town is fucking one of the best. Yeah. Like you're talking about the golden age of cinema as well. That 1990s, late 90s.
In Britain,
In Britain, yeah. Real
Train spotting, all
that stuff. Shallow Grave, Train Spotting, the Shane Meadows stuff. That was the golden age of cinema, really, for the UK.
His name was Lur Ifans.
Yeah, he never did anything again, but he's Rhys's brother. That is the fucking one of the funniest, most poignant, mental movies you ever saw. I promise you, Len, you will fucking love it.
I'm dying for something decent.
Watch it, and I mean, it's just, isn't it, Rob? Yeah. It's Fatty Lewis's boys are at the door. It's fucking classic. I think, brilliant. 25 magic mushrooms, 5 spreads of ash, and they're fucking mental. They're mental. It's a fucking AC Cobra. They're mental in it. And I tell you who else is deadly in it, the Scottish actor, what's his name?
Robert Carlyle?
No. He did go on to do a couple of things. Dougray Scott. That's his name, Dougray Scott.
Dougray Scott.
100%. But anyway.
Well, for me, anyway, as far as I think, Irish twins.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. It's that you're born in close proximity, really close proximity.
Enough that
so
you
she
grow
had the baby, she got pregnant again straight away.
Pretty much, exactly.
Irish style.
Yeah.
Irish Catholic vibes.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
No contraception. No.
And what then, if you don't mind me asking, Len?
Less than a year apart.
See, that's
okay,
it.
So it's literally, she got the baby, she had the baby, the chap came into the fucking hospital, banged her up straight away. Again, like good old Irish procreators.
I better go. No, you can stay, Father. You can stay.
You can fuck her again if you want.
But in other words, we grew up like we were the same age, rather than him. I mean, he was my older brother in some ways, but rather than, do you know what I mean, having that older sibling, younger sibling relationship, we more just we kind of grew up more or less the same.
And do you get on well now?
Yeah, no, get on really well. He lives.
What's his name?
Owen. Owen is his name. No, we got on smashing, man. Love him to bits. But we grew up like brothers. Do you know what I mean? We have the usual. You have the usual. That shit is kind of constantly there. Like when he came home for Christmas. We had it was so amazing. First of all, just amazing to have someone in the house now who's gonna live. Who's gonna be living there after fucking 9 months of just the three of us or whatever. And then he's there. And it's fucking Christmas, and it's amazing. And then, kind of like 2 days later, I'm opening a pack of cookies, and it's empty. And it's like, you cunt. You couldn't. You're still doing it. You're still finishing the fucking biscuits and putting the pack back. So the next fucking contest to fucking get rid of it, and you're like, oh. So of course you're always gonna have familiarity. You're always gonna have that dynamic. But I love him to fucking bits. He's an amazing human being. I've worked with him on stuff before as well, like
Okay, that's good.
And the theatre thing and everything. He's amazing dude.
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, all from different fathers. We are, but no offense to my mother there.
I mean, you did it, but yeah.
But and I don't get on well with one of my brothers, whom you know. He's a difficult character, maybe, or maybe it shouldn't even bother because I'm probably gonna have to deal with this in the fucking comments section.
I'll see you in the comments, buddy.
I don't give a fuck. And I get on well with my 2 sisters, but one of my brothers I get on really well with, and he is a fucking one of the most extraordinary human beings I've ever met in my whole entire life. He was the head of the Human Rights Council in Gaza for the United Nations for the last 3 years, till Israel fucked him out. He just got fucked out of Israel, Palestine and Israel by the Israelis because you need an Israeli visa to get into Gaza. And so this is how they deal with this. They just go, we don't want the UN Human Rights Council here. And he's like, but and they're just like, well, you're not getting a visa, mate. And that's that. Gone. Out of the country. And so that's, just mad props to my brother Neil. One of the most... I went to Africa because my brother has a master's in development politics and sociology. And when he had done his degree and wanted to get his master's, he said he was going to Africa to do field work because field work was sort of went for you in your application. So he's like, I'm going to Africa. And I was like, I was only 22 or something, maybe 23. And I was like, I'm going to Africa. When are we going? Let's go. And I went to Africa with Neil for 2 months. And we went to Kenya and we went to Nairobi and spent time just outside of, like, literally over the wall from Kibera, which is the biggest slum in Africa. When I went to Africa, it was the most amazing or most something time of my life. Just to go to Africa was outstanding. It was just mesmerising place. And obviously I won't get it too far into it. We could do a whole podcast on that trip to Africa. It was fucking mental. But definitely, like, for me, like, that brother I'm talking about is 10 years older than me. Yeah. So we have that the dynamic that you say you don't necessarily have with your brother. We didn't grow up together. Yeah, he was my older brother the whole time. And when we went to Africa, it was amazing. He was so fucking... It was just cool. It was really, seriously, like, lifelong bonding shit. It was brilliant.
Fucking deadly, man.
But, you're not in a relationship at the moment, am I correct?
No.
In saying that, and if you don't mind me asking, when was the last time you were in an intimate relationship?
So, dude, my last relationship, which was like 1.5 years, and it ended right before lockdown, kind of just almost.
A year ago.
Yeah. Actually, literally 1 year ago. Yeah.
And it was 1.5 years relationship.
More or less, yeah.
And like, again, you don't have to answer this question, but I find it interesting. Were you heartbroken?
Well, yeah, like it was really tough.
Did you want to end the relationship?
I ended the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really tough. And kind of, but it had been difficult for a while, I think, because we were living in town when we met, when we first kind of got together, and by that stage we had both moved home. Do you know what I mean? So for a little while it had been tough. Like she was from Northern Ireland, so it was very difficult for us to meet. It was kind of like every other weekend either I'd go up or she'd come down. Those, you know, they're very difficult relationships to kind of maintain. Anyway, but yeah, I think for the both of us as well, we kind of let a little bit of toxicity and insecurity kind of creep.
It happens. Look, it happens, unfortunately, because I think a lot of the time relationships end sort of a period of time before they actually end.
Oh, 100%.
And that bit of that 3 or 6 months, that's where you do a lot of the damage.
And I feel like women are better at ending, or certainly they say women are better at ending a relationship when it's time to end it, whereas I know me, I'm really bad at that, and I've actually made a promise to myself that if I do, I'm not necessarily looking to be in a relationship even if all of this passes up, I'm not gonna go out looking for love. I think that's a terrible idea anyway.
Yeah.
But
Well, again, that ties into the idea of when, like, if you're looking for something, if you that longing for the connection, you're not actually able for it until you're not. Maybe till where you are.
yeah, maybe.
But
yeah.
again, the thing of the catch-22 of it, the dichotomy of it is like, then you're there, where it's just like, well, I'll take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like, dude, love is like, who's I saying this? Love is like a bank loan. In order to get one, you have to prove that you don't need one. Do you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah, the fucking bank wouldn't give me a fucking top up on my loan, the assholes. Fuck AIB. So because the reason I asked about the heartbreak, because obviously can you remember, like, one time where your fucking heart was broken?
oh man, yes.
What is that about? Isn't that a feeling like none other?
Do you know Richard Pryor
Okay,
has
give it to
such
me.
a good piece about, and it's not even a joke really. He's just talking about being a man. It's like going to college. You get your degree. All you need to do is get your heart broken. That's it. You're a man. You just gotta be walking around for 3 weeks. People are like, hey, what's wrong with Rich? You see that man? He just walked out in the middle of traffic. He nearly got run down by a truck. Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with his eyes. He's just fucking got a broken heart.
It's funny because I remember, like, in around the time that I was talking about when I was. Because I tell you that when my relationship ended.
Oh Jesus!
Sorry. When my marriage ended, it sort of tied into the breakdown, like the serious, irrevocable breakdown of my relationship with my father and stuff like this. And I was heartbroken on a few levels. And my brother, who I spoke about, was like going, well, at least you know you're alive, man.
Oh man!
You know, that feeling, at least you know you're alive. And
you
when
know
he said
what?
that, I was just like, fucking hell, man, thanks for that.
Do you
That
know
really
what else?
fucking helped.
Dude, like, and this will sound like so fucking, gazing out into the ocean shit. But I realized that about this relationship that I'm talking about, but the first time I got my heart broken, and probably still, without question, the worst. But I think about the feelings that I had for that person, and you kind of and it's so hard, but that they don't want it. You think this is the most beautiful thing in your life.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's just, sorry.
You're like, I can't believe that this came out of me. I can't believe that this thing exists, but it is long and strong. It's like this glowing orb of wonderment, and it's like, think how amazing this would be to have in our lives. And she just goes, no thanks. And you're just like, why? You don't want it? You don't want it? But you have to realize, man, that that's yours. You can still look at that and go, she didn't want it. No, you made that. How amazing is it that came out of you? And that's what I genuinely realized.
That's beautiful.
I fucking am so blessed. No matter how painful it ended up being, I am so blessed that I got to meet that person, that she was in my life, because otherwise I never realized before that I was capable of feeling those things, that I was capable of believing in having a life like that or whatever, you know what
Beautiful. That's a really beautiful way to look at it. It's a really positive way to look at it. You're looking at it as a learning curve.
I mean? Yeah,
You know,
but it took a long time.
Listen, I appreciate
fucking-
I can see that, but even then I'm not there. Like, when I think of, like, I feel like I was the king of unrequited love. Do you know what I mean? Like, at times I've just, like, put a shot a load of times, and for it just to be like, what?
Yeah.
And like you said, I don't, unfortunately, look at it like, well, at least I felt this thing. And when my brother said that thing, it did make me feel better about the situation. But still, I'm like going, I get that. I get that thing where it's like going, here's this thing. And she didn't want it. Like, I loved her and she didn't love me. And it's just like going, and rather than trying, I just sort of go, a part of me goes to this place where I'm going, well, of course. Why would she love you? Or, like, you know what I mean?
Of course,
rather
dude.
than necessarily. And here's another thing, right? Because, like, I'm going, am I actually the king of unrequited love, or am I just too sensitive
dude,
to the heartbreaks or whatever? And, like, I look at them, so then I start to go, maybe you're not heartbroken. Maybe what's actually hurting is your ego, because she said she didn't want you, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what. So I'm going, am I upset about the fact that she didn't want me, or that it's just actually making my insecurities go jump through the fucking roof. But I know that feeling of sort of going, will you take this thing from me?
Yeah.
No, and because the thing that's so upsetting about that is that it's just like going, how could I have got it so wrong? Like, how could I have thought you wanted this thing that I gestated and procreated and percolated for you? Like, how could I have been so thick?
But it's the dawning, it's the sudden doubt or the realization.
But that's all it is. It's insecurity and doubt
100%.
going through the fucking roof. And I don't think... And so that's my point. It's like, going, is it really heartbreak, or is it a manifestation of you not loving yourself enough?
Yeah, exactly. Or not having that rooted confidence.
Like, would you
in
get
yourself.
heartbroken if you were so confident in yourself that you were just like going, yeah, look, she just didn't go for it, man. It just wasn't for her.
Dude, it's like you say about being... Yeah, exactly. It's like you say about being a chef or whatever. Or even like, oh, maybe what did I do kind of wrong? Whatever way you move on, you have the confidence. Like, if you fuck up at work, you can just address that in a purely practical way, right? Because
No emotion involved.
there's a bedrock of, well, I fucking know I can do this. I know I'm good at this. And that's maybe why you get better at relationships as you go on. But it'd be like if you were, a singer-songwriter and, you played in parties and everyone told you were good, and you play a few gigs and everyone tells you you're good, and then you have maybe your third or fourth gig, people are laughing at you, they think you're absolutely shite. And instead of, because you don't have that bedrock of going, oh, it was just a bad crowd, or it was an off night, or I maybe shouldn't have said that at the top, or it just came off weird, you immediately think, am I wrong? Am I wrong about myself?
Yeah.
Have I worked on this thing? Am I misguided?
Which is exactly, you're just articulating insecurity.
Yeah, 100%. Am I unlovable? But you kind of just sort of...
Unlovable.
You go...
That's a question I've asked myself before.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's just like, if you love yourself, I don't think you'd ask that question.
And we've said this before.
If you were capable of giving yourself a hug.
We've said this before, like...
Honestly.
That's the thing. If you could offer that little, whatever that fucking thing I was talking about, the light thing, if you could give one of those to yourself. But anyway, that sounds strange. But we were talking about this before, like, we have a great expression here in this country about someone like, that fucking prick. Oh, what's wrong? Loves himself. Just loves himself. It's like, oh, word, he loves himself, he's overcome his deep-seated insecurities about it.
And that's a real Irish thing, and I stress this all the time. If I was ever to hear someone say to me, you couldn't do that, I'll fucking pull their face off them. I'll pull your face clean off your skull, mate. Don't fucking ever tell my child, my beautiful developing child, that he's not able or capable of anything. Or I'll fucking kill you. I remember being at a party. Honestly, I remember being at a kid's party, and I said something like, oh yeah, I loved, or I'm great at that. And some elf fucking bint. The child's grandmother was like, self-praise is no praise. And I just turned around and said, no, actually you're wrong. The most important relationship you're ever going to have is the relationship with yourself. You should learn to love yourself a bit there, love. Yeah. And she was just saying, And she was offended by me saying that. I was like, I don't want to live in a world where we put sort of any constraint on people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a real Irish thing. It's a real Irish fancy, loves himself. And I grew up thinking, I remember this, I grew up thinking that was a bad thing. There was a negative connotation tied to that. And you can say it in a way that has negative, but you can also say, here, bro, love yourself. You should love yourself. And that is just like, oh yeah, I should.
Yeah.
Because I'm me. This is it. This is my life.
You're gonna die alone, man.
You're gonna die alone. There you go. I was gonna say it, but I didn't say it.
You're the one person you're never gonna get away from. You know, that kind of way.
What age were you? Do you remember your first kiss?
Now are we talking kiss?
Ston, or what did it call? Shifting. Your first shift. Meeting.
I was probably 15, I would say. At some party. I mean, yeah, I remember kissing girls in primary school, but that's totally different, really, isn't it? There's
no, it's not. Why is that different?
Sexual charge there necessarily. It's more.
Okay.
It was more like.
Okay.
It was more like one of those things you found out you were someone's boyfriend in the afternoon, and then by home time you found out that
you were dumped.
You'd been through a breakup, and yeah.
I can't believe you said that.
She owned your.
That happened to me. Why does that happen? That's so funny. It's brilliant. Like these things you think. I remember, and then it's just like, it happens to everyone.
Yeah.
That's exactly that thing. Use a bloody girl, and then by the end of the day, I know you're not. I just whatever. Just
Dude,
like,
I think there's this hilarious thing where girls hit puberty like a couple of years on average before boys, and then start doing this to boys who are still stuck in fucking crayons mode.
want to play bikes?
Yeah. All right, I'll be your boyfriend. What does that mean? Yeah. And you'd kiss her and,
they
then
just go like,
run away.
like that. Louis hangs around with 3 girls on the lane, and I'm just like going. I feel like just going, Lou, man, you don't have to do that. You know, he's just constantly like, ooh, entertaining. Just like,
Shit, that's all I do, man. That's literally
just
my
I became an actor.
entire thing. Yeah.
So when did you lose your virginity?
I think it was like 18.
18, yeah, and was
A
it?
bit late.
I am a late bloomer. Technically, I'm only just turning 30 in cognitive years. But, I mean, I don't think 18's a really late bloomer. I think that's sort of probably average, is it? And tell me this now, when you lost your virginity at 18, was it like, did you walk out of that situation going, yeah, I performed well there?
No way, man. I was actually the worst thing
stop.
imaginable because the two of us were like plowed drunk. So I woke up kind of going, did that happen? Definitely. You know what I mean? Did it? And
I wish I had
been
been plowed drunk for the first time I had sex. First time I had sex was in this shed.
No, right, goddamn
Just over
here.
there. And I was like, you're talking 2 pumps and an apology. Well, a 3-pump jump. It was awful. And it was years before I got to have sex again. Like, I was 18, I think it was 21, maybe 20 by the time I was
You were scarred.
back at it.
Scarred, yeah.
I just don't think any women were attracted to me. I was more than scared. What do you look for in a woman?
That's a good. To be honest, I don't.
There's no set. You don't have a type. It's just the parameters line up.
Oh, I probably do. I mean.
Okay, let's
in
just
a-
say
yeah,
even. Let's just say. Let's just break that into.
Actually, I'd say this, for example, from
Yeah.
a physical point of view.
Yeah, give me the physical
and,
one.
And shoot me over this. Gotta be maybe like an inch taller than me. I'm 5'7", right?
Yeah.
But ideally shorter. I don't think a woman who'd be taller than me would want to date. I don't think it would be good for either of us.
Well,
but
I
that
don't
is a
know
thing I
about
totally
that.
have.
But I think that women are a bit funny about dating men that are shorter than them.
If you have that mental problem yourself, were you worried about the appearance of it or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I just
You don't want to be at a wedding and they take a photo of all the couples and you're like,
you're like the Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman thing, or like, yeah, look, it's vanity probably. It really is vanity, and I've sometimes asked myself, is it a thing of I have to be taller than her, I have to be like superior her to or whatever? I'm just telling you. I'll tell you this: some of the fastest and the best relationships I have, like personal friend relationships I have ever had, have been with exceptionally tall women. Because the second we meet each other in whatever scenario, we're just instantly, there's no tension here whatsoever. Nothing would ever, neither of us could possibly think anything's going to happen. And we just become instant fucking
I love those
friends.
And you get that actually in the kitchens, because whatever we said before, work is a good place to meet women or whatever, but not really in kitchens. I don't think. Like, I don't think chefs are with other chefs in kitchens. Do you know what I mean? For some reason, there's just a different dynamic or energy to it, I found. And I can think of 2 Argentinian birds that I worked with, who there was never, for whatever reason, there was never that sort of sexual thing going on. They weren't attracted to me, I wasn't attracted to them, or whatever the thing was. And because of the kitchen dynamic as well. And they were some of the best friendships, or the best crack I've had in friendships. You know, when you get a good friendship with a girl, they're a good crack, because, you know, women's energy is different, like we just said earlier on. But then, so what do you think women who are attracted to you are looking for? Like, what is it that you possess that attracts women, in your opinion?
I dare not ask, man. I would be afraid to ask. I don't know. I think, probably the gift of the gab or whatever. Do you know, that kind of way?
Yeah.
I certainly, in fact, most of the relationships, most of the women I've ever, been intimate with, most of them have known me for like, a good few weeks or a good couple of months.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? So it's not, I don't think I'm the kind of guy that you'd see on the street and follow with your eyes. Do you know that kind of way? I'm more like a get to know me for comes. Oh, this
Yeah,
guy.
I think I'm the same. I think
guy's
actually
pretty funny, this
when
guy's
people
good for a
first
laugh.
meet me, they think, and especially women, they're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, get this fucking lunatic away from me.
Yeah.
No, I do, honestly. And then the more, because I'm quite like, ooh, especially in work, I'm like, fucking come on, man, yalla, yalla. Like, that's my war
That's
cry.
you on the smoke break. All right, let's go inside.
That's my war cry. And so I think then I don't look like, like the same thing. I think that women are like, oh, fuck, I'm not dealing with this cunt. And then after a while they go, oh, actually, do you know what? He's just a bit crass or brash or whatever.
Yeah.
He's actually all right. I'll suck his dick.
Make him feel better.
And then, so right, okay, so then, I get where you're coming from.
I'll never forget. Actually, I want to mention.
Well, I think you're being hard on yourself there, then, as well, because you're sort of then saying that surely you're physically attractive.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm not. I just probably it's not becoming to. It's if you say.
You just don't feel like you're one of those guys, and I certainly don't feel like them. Where women are just like that motherfucker walk into a restaurant and bitches be like,
Yeah,
here's
right.
my phone number.
We gotta
That
work
happened
for
to
it.
you.
We gotta work for it.
That happened to you. The manager of the restaurant was just like, she was what, 10 years older than you?
When?
I don't know. Were you not seeing some Italian bird who was a manager in the restaurant? And you
Oh,
went because
yeah,
you went
yeah.
into the restaurant and she just slipped you her number?
Dude,
I'm not that guy
dude,
ever.
we have a friend, right? And I'm not gonna name names or nothing. We have a friend who was invited out to like a party out in a house. It was they're all staying for the weekend, and he was invited out by this girl he was seeing at the time. Knew virtually no one else out there, right? On the first night they were out there, he got with some other chick, right? And the host of the party, the hostess of the party, who had never met this guy before, comes out while he's out having a smoke, feeling really bad because they kind of got caught. And she says, I kind of hate you. Doesn't know this guy. All she is best friends with the guy, with the girl who brought this guy here. She goes, I kind of hate you, but I kind of don't hate you either. And I'm like, that is how good looking this fucking guy is. That people just can't hate this motherfucker.
I think there's another element to that. I think women are attracted to assholes.
Okay, that's an interesting.
I'm telling you, I think there's a little bit of her that got a wet one at the idea that this guy's just like, oh yeah, fuck it. I came with her. I'm telling you, man, I see it. Nice guys finish last. And I'm not saying, so don't be a nice guy, treat women like shit. The opposite, you be a nice guy for you, to walk your righteous path or whatever it is. But at the same time, like, I see it, man. And I'm not saying your mate's a dog, but the dogs do good with women.
Yeah,
what is that about?
Yeah, is it like
Is that how women's insecurities manifest? Choose assholes. Do you also notice why some girls want losers for boyfriends?
I mean, dude,
some girls want to feel like a man that they can say, shut up, Raven. You know what I mean?
Dude, Charles Manson. Charles Manson got married in fucking prison. Man, there are some women who are into murderers.
So here, for some reason, all of those motherfuckers get married in jail.
Is it that they think they can?
Don't they?
Is it the women who get into these relationships think they can reform these guys or something? Is that kind of it?
Type.
Yeah.
There's some weirdness there, like they're helpers or carers.
There's a nurturing thing.
I also think that maybe there's a subconscious like because women, I think some women are attracted to tough men as well, are they?
Yeah, like we
I
were
consider
saying.
myself a tough guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a scrapper and all, but there's a prime.
There's like
at the same time, and again, I'm an alpha male.
Yeah, I was kind of like.
I'm not going around like a fucking Hardy.
Did he mean Polish meat? Yeah,
I'm not going around like a Hardy Buck whose vibe is, I'm a tough guy, kill people.
Or who was that dude? Do you remember that guy, the bodybuilder who like beat the living shit out of his girlfriend? And there's one photo of him and he's wearing that vest with I do alpha male shit. Like, first of all, the alpha male thing, you could argue is the ultimate binary or rebound from an insecurity, that your insecurity is so fucking deep that you have to just force into this.
So when I don't think that's a real alpha male. Like, I think
There's people who discredit all that anyway.
No, it doesn't
It's
apply
not
to
bullshit.
humans
It's
anyway.
not bullshit. We see it.
The
There's
alpha thing.
dynamics. It's not bullshit, and I don't mean that. Like, I come into situations, and especially in work situations, I come into situations with a level of confidence, with a level of talking, that it's just like, it sets a dynamic, I think. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
definitely in the work thing, I just go, this is how it's fucking happening. And it's not about whether, and it's not about, it's just about getting it done. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, I think you know what? There's a thing about the law of the
It's
jungle,
not about
right?
feeding my ego and jerking off. It's just like, this is how we're going to sort this right now. Let's get done.
There's
Go,
a thing
go,
about
go, go.
there's a thing about the law of the jungle that people think it means the big fucking dog or the big gorilla takes fucking everything, and it's not at all. Like in like chimpanzee, this is your man Harari again now, but in chimpanzee colonies,
The alpha males are the daddies.
yeah, they look after everybody.
after everything.
If there's a sick thing, they make sure they get fed. If you are the oldest, weakest, limpest chimpanzee and you come back with a banana and everybody's been starving, it's all recognised that that's yours. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The alpha, which we think the law of the jungle is, the big daddy gorilla goes over and says, no, I'm fucking having that because I can take it, basically. And it's
after
not
the
the way.
situation.
They look
The
after
sword
things.
situation,
Yeah.
They're the person that people turn to in the situations to go, what are we going to do here?
So that's
That's what a real
anyway,
alpha
yeah.
male is.
Yeah.
It's not the guy who goes and beats shit out of his wife. Or,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
suppose people
who you
think
can't say anything to, like, here, mate, would you mind?
Yeah.
I'll fucking kill you, like, you know, that
That's
American
that's
sort
the
of vibe.
this bastardized thing of it. That's
That's
what
not-
people
that's
think
not
it
what I'm
is.
talking
Yeah.
about more.
Yeah.
But anyway, look. Do you have a big dick, Liam?
I don't at all, man. I am pretty much bang on average, I think.
Yeah. I think
I mean-
I think I am pretty much bang on average, but in my head I tell myself I'm below average.
Numbers.
What?
Huh?
Numbers in inches.
Well, you can look up the average. I'm above
I'll
it.
tell you this much.
It depends on the day. What do you want me to say?
Well, hold on a minute. Some days you have a good dick day.
Yes,
Some days you got a good
absolutely.
dick day.
Yeah, but boners around the same, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
but
I
just
tell you
like
what.
There's just something to it where
I don't think I've ever been able to achieve the size and vigor of boner alone that I have when sometimes kind of when you're with a woman, you're like, Jesus, there's an next.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's like your
No,
dick
yeah,
is
right,
it's like your
no,
dick has
no.
put down the newspaper and gone, finally, okay.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. Now I've definitely been in a couple of sexual situations where I'm like, I'm feeling rock here. You know what I mean? I'm fucking, I'm Patrick Bateman.
And it's usually about 2 seconds before it's all over. But anyway, yeah.
Massive insecurity. It wasn't good for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the dick thing. I was like, when I was younger, adolescent. I fucking hated adolescence for numerous reasons. But when I was younger, I was so like insecure about my dick size. I thought I had a tiny dick.
It sounds like a disease. I'm afraid your
No, I
son is
did.
caught.
And that went on for years.
Tiny dick.
And one time in one of these magazines here,
It's
on the
terminal.
roof, there was actually a graph of different dick sizes and shapes and all. And the Joe average, I put mine on the silhouette of the page on the Joe average, and it was right there in Joe average. That was it. And I was just like,
And I looked up and Joe Average was giving me the thumbs up.
but I was just like, I even now at 36 years of age, where I'm totally confident in my sexual abilities or anything like that. Like, I'm a good lover. I think I'm a good lover, and I'm confident in my sexual abilities. Even now, I'm just like, God, I wish I had a big dick.
Oh, man, of course.
What is that about?
Because of porn, I guess, man. Because of
You're
porn.
not alpha. No, because it's not about big dick size. I am an alpha, right?
Do you know what? There's this. I wish I could remember her name, but there's this female comedian in America who does like she's arguing the whole big dick energy thing. It's like guys with big dicks are like really quiet and like shy and stuff, and they sit in the corner. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
Confident. What is that? I wish I had a big
It's that. Yeah, I just let me try it for one day. No, man, it is. It's that thing of sitting there in the party going, well, any woman or anyone who doesn't want to go home with me is missing out. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, as a guy, we all have to have clothes on. So you're basically like you're like salespeople at a conference or whatever going, wait till you see my car. It's beautiful, but you can't even show them pictures or there's no nothing.
It's fabulous. I got it on the covers. It's long and sleek and dark.
It'll do 10 miles to the gallon. Really goes. Not to 60 in, let me tell you.
Not to 60. More like 6 to midnight in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Flat.
Career off the road right into the river.
And do you consider yourself? And I don't really. In fact, I'd be just interested. Are you a very sexual person?
That's
Are you sexualized human being?
Now, do you mean like, do I think about sex a lot,
Yeah,
or
do you just like want it, and like do you think about sex a lot?
do you know, man?
And like, because I don't like, do you think you're very sexual? Like when you're in a relationship, is sex a big thing?
Yeah,
Are you
definitely. Sex
horny
is very important
all
to
the
me.
time. And then like, are you a little bit perverted?
Uh,
And I don't mean perverted. Perverted's the wrong word because in negative context. Are you kinky?
Yeah, definitely,
Cool.
definitely, man. Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone thinks I'm right. I'm just the right amount of
What
kinky.
time will you even
Everybody,
get doggy style?
everybody. Yeah. One time, I even lifted the sheets down
saw
very
the pussy.
slightly. Yeah. We cut the hole a little extra wide in the sheet, but
And then
more, isn't that
again,
what
this is
the
really personal. So you
Amish?
don't have to answer it if you don't. What's your sexual orientation? Do you consider yourself full hetero?
Do you know? I don't. I think anyone considers a full head. Like absolutely on aggregate. I'm heterosexual.
Yeah.
But I think
Can you appreciate a handsome man?
Of
Like, look at
dude,
this handsome motherfucker over here. We can appreciate him. Look, he's just like, leave me alone.
dude, stop it. He just made. We gave me a brief taste of him earlier, ladies. Rob's there. I guess I got to put myself down as a guest in this one. Technically. But
Because I tell you right, because I was overweight when I was really overweight when I was a kid. Like when I was 12 years of age, 13, 14 years of age. At one point I was like 17 or 18 stone, and I was really curious as a result of this of what other lads looked like.
right, yeah,
Because I was fat and I was insecure about that, and then I'd be like going, like I know that if I saw a lad with no top on, I would look at him because I'd be like going, that's what and I'd be like going, that's what a guy looks like, who's normal almost. Do you know what I mean? Who isn't fat.
Yeah,
And almost
yeah,
like in
yeah.
a jealous sort of way, I'd be going, geez, I wish my body looked like that or whatever. But for a while, I was there going, is that gay? Am I being gay?
And let's be honest, we grew up in an era when, I mean, even in the playground in primary school, gay was thrown around like it was not something you wanted to be.
And I get into this, and I said it last week. It's like I was born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, and I understand how it's really not cool. Like I would hate if it was like that's really Reuben. If something was shit, you know what I mean? But that's literally everything when we were growing up that wasn't cool was gay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 10 years of age, this is how confusing adolescence is. You were gay because you wanked. And then literally 6 months later, you were gay because you didn't wank. And I was just like, I don't even know what wanking is. How gay am I?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like that one day. It's like, he wanks, queer, gay on. You're like, oh, no, I don't even know what wanking is. I'm not even 100% sure what gay and queer is. And then the next day, because the cool kid has started wanking and he knows it's a great thing to be doing.
There was one
gay doesn't even wank.
There was one kid, Jerry Doyle, and he dictated the market, and all his cronies would come to him in the morning. Where do we stand on wanking, Jerry? Gay. Yeah. Fruit corners. Not gay today. Man, that was it. And that's the thing about, and that word, the F word, the F bleep,
again,
that was used to, I don't want to take that word away from anybody or whatever, but that word was used to police your masculinity, basically. Because that's what the implication was. It wasn't like, hey, I actually genuinely think you are sexually attracted to other men, and that annoys me. It's the implication was you're not a man, you're not a lad.
Funnily, then how you felt about it was the same thing, because the upset is not I'm gay. The upset is like they think I'm gay, or they think I'm not a man.
Or what if I am that and I don't realize it yet, and now I exist in a world where it is not good. It is not okay, man. It's terrifying.
But adolescence is really tough anyway for those reasons, and I think maybe it's getting better, and because kids are less.
Man, 100%.
Parameters for kids to be so mean aren't there. I think.
I was back in my old primary school. Rob's mom, actually, Mary. Many blessings.
Mary Slattery.
Mary Slattery taught me.
She's up there in the Hall of Fame with my own mother. I talk about this all the time. Mary Slattery how she ever, like, the fact that she dragged you motherfuckers up is the woman deserves the highest accolade. Like, talk about fucking 5 juvenile delinquents. If you haven't, I'm saying my own mother.
And all the other delinquents they brought home, fucking, like
smoking
this.
bongs, smoking Derek at 2 o'clock in the day, you know, on the
Oh
bunk
man,
beds,
I remember.
and Mary kicking in the door, going, no, we're like, we're sorry.
Dude, me and
and she never fucking lost it with us.
Never.
I remember one
She's a
time,
saint,
this happened, man. This happened. And this is the same. When my mum built this shed when we were 15, we used to get locked in it and beat the fucking shit out of each other in this shed. We had pellet guns and slingshots and everything in here. My mum would have to come down at 3 o'clock in the morning and break up fights. Fights. I remember before I was 18, taking ecstasies. And I know it was before I was 18 because I couldn't go to the pubs. And that's why me and Rob did it, because we were 17 and we took a pill each up Braehead, and we were fucking out of it for hours. And like this, we were like, right, let's make our way down the beach, and we go up and we get more pills, and Rob had them in his house. Right, cool, perfect. We go down to the beach, and we're all fucking, me and Rob were just pinned down, we're just standing outside the pubs, we couldn't get into it, mad ever. I used to snort speed on my own in this shed, and cycle down on my BMX to Henry and Rose, where there would be like 500 people. After, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, I just rock down, I'm 17 years of age, pin down my head in speed, rock down on my BMX, and just take it all in. Right? And one day, we're standing outside the Martello.
Just absorb the atmosphere.
We're mad out of it, and we're outside the Martello. It's height of the summer. It's not even that dark yet. It's only 10 o'clock at night or something. And we meet Aiden, and Rowley, and all the lads who are 18, they're going into the thing. And Tommy's with them. And Tommy's like, going, what the fuck have you lads been up to? We're like, oh, we're up the hills. We're up in Braehead taking pills there. And he was like, I'm not going in there. Come on, do you have more pills? And we were like, yeah, we got Rob has more pills. So we walked, I'd never forget this as long as I live. We walked up the back of King Edward Road to where the wall is at the, where you go down to Rob's estate. He hopped over the wall, down, over the river, snuck into his house, got the rest of the pills, came back over the river, up the hill, back over the wall, me and Tommy there. And me and Rob took another one, and Tommy's like, double drop. Because, and we went back to your mum's house. And Tommy proceeded to take all his clothes off, took all his clothes off, and he's in the bathroom with his feet up like that. Right? I swear to God. And I was coming up on my second pill, and I'm being fat, and the sweat is pumping off me. It's pumping off me. And I'm like that. And I've never puked before from taking ecstasy. And I can feel the rushes in my stomach. And I'm going, something's wrong, you're having a heart attack, you're dying. And so I didn't want to say it, and I just wanted to pretend like it wasn't happening. And it's going on. And Tommy's not in the room at this stage, it's just me and Rob. And I just go, and I put my hands like that, and what looks like frog spawn is flying out between my fingers. And when that happened, I was just like, in the fucking couch, like, I just take my top off because there's puke all over it. I'm like fat. The sweat, I look like Maddie Madison or something. Sweat is just pumping off me. And in walks your mum. What's going on with Tommy?
What's going on?
Tommy's in the lip, in the downstairs bathroom, with his feet up against the wall. And she just left us alone. She's just like, fuck it. And that was the best thing she could have done. And so many parents would not do that. They'd fucking lose it. They'd lose it on every fucking level possible. And she wasn't impressed. And fair enough. Like, the next day, all we did in our skaggy selves was sit in the back bedroom smoking joints. And she fucking let us. And I just was like going, so many other people would have turned that into a situation that was just uncontrollable. And same with my mum, rather than fucking... I remember one time we were so mad at it, we're all, me and 3 other lads were out on the lane trying to piss for a half an hour. And then my mum's just like, are you lads alright? And we all just snapped out of it like that. She's in her dressing gown on the lane, we're like, yeah, we're grand, Jane, sorry. And like most people would fucking lose it in those situations. She was just like, just don't. You're just gonna create hassle. So sorry, I don't know how. I didn't mean to go so far off course there.
So many people.
But a big mad props to Mary Slaughter.
Mary Slaughter,
mad props to Jim Page, and God bless them. I feel terrible looking back now that we put them.
But that they had to know that to freak out is not.
Well, I think the other side of it is like there was an element of they sold their wild oats as well when they were like. I know my mum when she was 19 years. My mum had a baby when she was 19, and she used to put it in a sling and go barefoot into town, hang out with the Dubliners and Tin Lizzie and all. You know what I mean? So they're probably a bit wider to it than like their parents or whatever.
But Mary anyway. What I was gonna say was that she taught. Mary taught me drama back when I was in primary school. Right, funny enough, yeah. But anyway, I took a couple of her classes or whatever a couple of times when she was away. But anyway, I was back in the BSP. Now the BSP, a Bray School project, second multi-denominational school in the country. It's like a hippy dippy school.
I was there, man.
Oh fuck, no way!
Prefabricated buildings.
Oh shit, get the fuck out of here! Holy shit!
88, I started in BSP.
I've seen pictures of that, man. The kids all in those like crazy thick home knitted jumpers and everything.
It was different vibes back then.
Crazy.
Different vibes, BSP.
Was
my dog Spinach used to come down and sit outside fabricate the prefabs.
Yeah.
Griffer used to go mental.
Oh, you had Mr. Griffin, man.
Well, Mr. Griffin was the principal when we at that stage. So you don't even remember? You don't even remember.
No, we had brick. We had a brick school.
Prefabs down behind what is now the civic office. That was the original BSP.
Shit,
it was like literally they had these raised prefabs up here on the. And you used to go to. You were sent to the logs.
On the we still had the logs actually. We still had the logs.
You had the square wall.
We had a square wall. We did have logs, but you were sent to the wall. That's right. You were sent to the wall.
You were sent to the logs. It was mad, yeah.
Imagine telling the guy, go sit on a tree. That's your punishment. Jesus. Man, that's so crazy. They had a school on the main street as well. Who sits on the main street?
Like
We're going to have a bar there, McDonald's there, a school over there.
The GAA field was behind it.
Yeah.
Is the GAA field gone now?
The AstroTurf, do you mean? No, or fucking Cush.
What's there? On the other side of the wall.
Cush Car.
Is that an estate now? Or is that still a big field? Anyway, fuck it. Did you ever come in your own face, ejaculate in your own face?
Surely I have. But not so that I'd remember.
Never. It's funny because I just...
No.
And this happened to me more than
I'd
once.
say this as well. I've never tasted my own.
I'm on the bed. And it's just like, and this big arcing wad of jism just comes up and you're like, oh no, what the hell? Never happened to you?
It's like they say when you see a bullet coming at you when you're fighting in a war, that at a time all slows down. He's oh, that's crazy.
It's like, and it's weird because it's like, you know, would you suck your own dick if you could? And everyone's like likes getting their dick sucked, but at the end of the day, you're still sucking a dick, even if it's yours. And there's an element of that because it's like we all have coming in someone's face, but it's your face.
Yeah,
it's sweet.
To say the
like
least.
The jism itself. But sorry, I just threw that out there because when I came to the sexual big dick thing, I was like, that's funny because I definitely know that I have. Do you believe in marriage or relationships? Then, do you think they're a positive thing? Do you think they are possible?
Well, do you know what? Let me defer.
Do you mind if I ask, sorry, just a precursor to that question? Because I mentioned earlier on that, like, obviously, my parents had a crap relationship, and that was a waste of their time. What do you think, if you don't mind me asking, is your parents' relationship like?
Now, my parents' relationship is very solid. Like, they've been married 30-something years now. But I tell you, I will say this one thing. Like, we don't, in my family, talk, get very personal when we talk a lot, right? And there are really good sides to that, and, like, they always kind of let me... left me to my own thing. Or like, obviously, if you had a problem, you brought it. But there are things like my cousins my aunt and uncle got divorced when I was like a kid, and we hung out with my cousins all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they just never said it to us. I found out kind of through the grapevine from hanging out with my cousins years later that the parents were divorced. And you know what I mean? There are things like that.
Irishy though, isn't it?
There sort of is an element of that
like,
to it,
like,
yeah.
And like, because I tell you, my man does this a bit. But it's like, no, just get on with it.
Yeah.
And I agree. There's a part of me that really, because I tell you who's not like that is Louie's mum, Zoe. She wants to dig deep and analyse and find it. And I'm not criticising that. Far from it. I think there's so much room for that. But there's actually a little weird part of me as well going, but are we fucking destroying the future generations of children? You know what I mean? At what point do you just say, yeah, listen, fucking we all have problems.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the right way to do
because
is.
there's good sides and bad sides to both,
To what
man.
you're saying,
There
yeah.
are, yeah.
But in general, you think then, Like, do you think then behind closed doors your parents are talking about their emotions in their feelings a lot, or is it?
Yeah, they definitely have
Or are they like more just practical? And I don't mean that in an unromantic way. I just mean that because there's like if you can't employ practicality in a relationship, it's not going to last 35 years.
No, absolutely not. No,
It's not going to survive on love.
no, it is an arrangement, and you're never, for all they say, your souls aren't going to meld together. They're always going to be an other person. Do you know what I mean? This other separate experience to yours. So it's crazy to think that you're always going to be totally simpatico, or you're always going to be whatever. I remember my first girlfriend I ever had asked me, do you think your parents, like her parents were long divorced or whatever, she's like, do you think your parents are still in love? She was basically trying to make the argument that there's no way you could still be in love after X number of years.
I
That
don't think you could be in love like the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep every single day.
I think it's different. That's all I could say.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
that when they first got together, they had this thing, and
Love
years
is a
and
drug.
years
Like,
later.
literally, that's a fact. Love is a drug. It lasts about 6 to 18 months. That's why they call it the honeymoon period. And what you're left with after that, in my opinion, what you're left with after that is what you can and can't live with.
Yeah.
Is what you can't live with going away what you can live with.
Do you know what, man? This just not to branch out here, but I've been thinking about
branch.
this recently. Like, so to give a brief, let's say, history of relationships, right? So, well, you can't say too much about how things were back in the cave person days, but up until this kind of start of civilization, 30, 70,000 years ago, when people started living together on farms and society and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Since from then, like marriage back then, so that let's say 5,000 BC onwards, marriage wasn't it wasn't like you go out and find someone who you go out and find the person who you think who you fall in love with. It was an arranged thing. It was for
always arranged, or do you not think like apocalypto? Like you're living in a village down in South America.
Well, put it to you this way.
It's not an attraction.
But the elders decided it, I suppose.
Always, you think?
I think
I'm not arguing,
in
I don't know.
most of these societies, that's how it was. Now, obviously, that depending on who was in charge, that played a bigger or smaller role in it. Your personal preference, or for example, when the king, or the Queen was getting married, like King Henry or his daughter Queen Elizabeth, when they were getting married, you had all these courtiers, but they were picking people and saying, what about this one? What about this one? So depending on where you stood in the power thing, it was never a case of, hey, Elizabeth, why don't you just, I don't know, just go down to Southend and just hang out at a bar and you might meet a guy. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was all arranged. And actually, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I was watching Gandhi, there's a really good bit in that where Ben Kingsley and the lady, I can't remember now, but Gandhi's wife anyway, they're talking about the wedding ceremony in India or whatever, and the steps they take for these two journalists. And then he goes, they kind of clapped and he goes, oh, that's amazing. And what age are you? And he says, we were 13 years old. And it was just arranged. Like an awful lot of weddings in India. I think to some extent to this day, in some parts, are still arranged like that.
Still, they don't want to be like fucking shining on about people's culture mistakenly, but I think you're right. I think
but this is the thing. The relationship they therefore had was one of duty. So in a way, you were paying duty to your gods, to your family, to your children, by being dutiful to your partner and doing what a wife is expected to do, doing what a husband was expected to do. So love, it never came into it. We're like, basically what I'm trying to say is the idea of marrying for love or choosing the person you want to spend the rest of your life with purely for love is actually a relatively new one. It's pretty contemporary. And the idea, so that the arranged thing was outdated. Now
they were more like business arrangements previously.
Exactly.
And it's funny then that we were talking about business relationships working.
And they lasted because it didn't, you didn't sit at home going, do I really love this person? You didn't fucking choose them anyway. That's not the point.
So do you think as a society we were happier then with that sort of setup or now?
I would despair to think we were happier with that setup because it would imply...
I'm pretty sure that
our lives, the meaning you placed in your life was just different.
Okay.
It was because
separation and divorce is much more
common now. Yeah.
So do you think that is a good thing for society or a bad thing for society? Do you think it's better that we look at it like an arrangement and work at it like an arrangement and go along with it even if it doesn't make us as entirely happy all the time, or do you think you're better off striving for entire individual happiness?
Individuate, because there's that old Gandhi's marriage arranged thing, right? And the meaning that you sort of invested in there. And then I sometimes feel like the future of that is like, do you remember when we were over in America, we were traveling around with these Australians, and there was one night when we were at a party, it was one of the guys' birthdays, and me and Rob were up like listening at the door, the four of them just disappeared. Him, his girlfriend, and this guy and this lesbian lady, and Rob was like looking at me, they're riding in there. They're riding. We couldn't believe it. We were sitting in Denny's the next day, the three Irish lads, while these two, the girls we knew,
So it's a man and a woman,
Charlie and Kim,
and a lesbian and a gay, and they all had sex together?
Well, the gay guy actually sucked off the guy.
blew the
and
dude,
the
and then
girl licked out the other girl, and the couple just laid down together, kind of enjoying
fist bumping or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, right,
It's
yeah.
like a birthday. It was weird. Isn't
But
it?
the
Guy
point-
on guy, girl on girl.
The point is they had an open relationship, right? That they had this total arrangement, and when the two girls sat down with us the next day, they were like, it was so funny because we were kind of like our minds were sort of blown, and they couldn't believe. They were like, do you not know anyone in an open relationship? And we realized how
From
kind
Ireland,
of
bitch.
exactly we realized how sort of, I guess, backward and closed off and kind of, no, I can't even imagine. But is that a healthier thing that you literally acknowledge? Look,
Would
we're
you
just
be able
two.
for an open relationship?
You know, I've really had to ask myself, what you're really asking me there is, Ruben, would you,
not take
could,
it?
could
Would
you
let another man
fuck your
bitch?
girlfriend? Exactly. Would you be happy
What
with
is that
another
about
man fucking
men?
girlfriend? Because I tell you something, I could be in a relationship, and maybe this is not fucked up. If she was riding another woman, I don't think I'd have a problem with that.
That's the male
I kinda
ego
don't think-
insecurity dick
Yeah,
thing.
you have to
100%.
back yourself big time.
How do you mean?
Because then you have to be confident that you could get with girl. You know what I mean? You.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a threesome?
No, I one time, right, when I was young, I was about 19, I'd say, or 20, I had the offer on the table of getting in a four-way, right? It was going to be me and three ladies,
Fuck!
right? And you know what I did?
I want to hear it! Don't want to fucking hear it! What did you do?
I ended up, we was hammer drunk, we were all out of the thing, and I got with this other chick.
Fucking...
Because what would you do? What would you do in that situation?
Guess what, chap? I'd fuck all three of the women. I fucked two women at the same time before. It was the best.
Dude, I was
He
not...
was there, he saw me with a woman's G-string on. I had a woman's G-string on, banging two chicks.
I
up
was
the stairs
not...
at a party.
I was
I've
not
also been in a
at
situation
a level of
twice,
confidence to do
two
that.
separate four ballers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Four ballers.
like me and another lad banged a chick, and then again me and another lad banged a
Four
chick.
baller. The devil's three-way. You know why they call it the
Well, it's
devil's
just like
three-way?
Patrice on the air goes, ladies, a threesome is one guy and two girls. That's what a threesome is. But I swear to God, when we were, this fucking crazy bitch I know was just like, I want you guys both of you to take me on and fuck me. And we were in a back of a taxi. Just like this, just the back seat of the taxi.
Yeah.
On me, you're the other lad, this is the girl. And she had her legs up like that, and she was getting doodled in the back of the taxi, and the taxi man was just like going, the taxi man was trying to text her, what the fuck
Jesus.
are you lads up to?
Changing the rating.
Yeah, came back here
Going along
to this
the road.
shed. This time the bed was over there where Rob is. And I
Just
swear
in the
to
wing
God,
mirror.
Your man took out his dick. It was the biggest dick I've ever seen.
He took it out, put it on the table.
Just like that. Just like flopping around. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm just going to have to try my best here. But I represented. I did well for myself. That night.
Hey, Ruben, how'd you feel? Well, you know, I wasn't the biggest fighter in the fight, but, you know, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, they're like more like bit of crack or something. But yeah, definitely I had sex with two women. It was like being in a porno for fucking hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
What age were you?
27.
Joe.
27.
And you were probably there thinking to yourself, all I gotta do now is inject some heroin, choke on my own vomit, and I am a legend for life.
Honestly, I just couldn't believe it. As it was happening, they started getting with each other first, and we were all in the same bed. Yeah. And even then, when they're fucking going down on each other and stuff beside me in the same bed, there, And I'm looking at it going, maybe I'll get to have sex with these two bitches. And no part of me was at that point even going, God damn, I'm gonna fuck these two women. Still, I was like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen here. No,
I
then
wonder,
eventually it just happened.
yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ. But do you want kids then? Do you think?
Yeah, yeah, like I've kind of flipped and flopped on this, more to the point of whether I'd be okay with not having kids, but I've always wanted kids. I, for some reason, always wanted in multiples of 3, so either 3, 6, or 9. Probably 3.
I mean, I have a kid. Before I had a kid, I wanted 10 kids. As soon as he was born, I wanted 10 more. If Zoe had been up for it at the time, I would have put 1,000,000 babies in her right there and there. But my God, one thing to not underestimate is how difficult looking after children is. How well, first of all, how existential one becomes when they have a kid, because the sense of mortality is unavoidable. Because I'm definitely getting older, even if I don't feel it. I don't look at myself in the mirror. I've created.
That's the sound of death.
Even if I don't feel it. Sorry, that was a bad one.
I can't smell. I've got COVID.
I don't look in the mirror.
Does that work? Is it
No,
matches?
it's
Matches. Yeah.
Sorry. What was I talking about there? Honestly, on an existential level, your own sense of mortality is kicked into overdrive when you have kids, because it's unavoidable. You mightn't feel like you're getting older. You might feel like you're only 18, but here's a thing you created. It came out of the vagina and just started to grow and develop. And so you can't, that's it. It's right there. And so...
In a way, man, sorry to cut you off now, but from an evolutionary... Because that is all we are meant to do as human beings.
Okay.
Survive until we procreate. That's all we know of the programming, right? The programming, life just bursts through. It's like, just keep passing the baton. Just keep passing the baton until... Fuck, we don't know where we're running to. Just keep passing the baton until... we'll figure that out later. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, essentially.
We're going, you just pass.
And as soon as you know as soon as you recognize you've passed the baton, you know, in a way, is your body or your whole reason to be kind of fulfilled in a sense. It's just like you just gotta protect this thing.
What you're saying, because I can't really explain it, but I know that I think about death now more than I fucking ever did. Like, I never would have thought about it before, and now I think about it often, actually. That sense of mortality. And the other thing that I find terrifying is just like going, I really hope I don't fuck this up. Like, I just feel like that's my biggest fear, that I fuck it up.
That you're gonna, in a way, like I kind of think I would love being a dad. But then I only think I fantasize about being on a road trip or being in a cafe with my kids. Yeah, of course, your kid's gonna drive you crazy.
I got an 8-year-old, all he does is punch me in the nuts. That's it. Punch me in the nuts, tell me I'm a douchebag.
And it's like, how do you get him to not do that so you can get on with your day without scarring him for life, kind of, or without, you know what I mean?
Losing your cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the kids are maybe... I suppose we're going to wrap it up now with just a couple of quick questions, but what I was wondering was, because you're in a place, you said, and I think it's great, fair play to you, where you don't necessarily feel you need a relationship or even want one, particularly. Am I right? Did you say that?
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about like, it's not that I wouldn't be. I basically, I'm not looking for one. I mean, I don't know if I could ever be said, am I looking for one? But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think it's important. It is important, like you said, to be able to be alone. Like, that is really, really important.
It's really important. I'm not in a because do you get lonely?
Yeah, man, of course. Well, it's more that I get sick of
the monotony of being on your own.
of just of your own kind of internal things. Sometimes you need to mix it up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, look, just on the last question I'm gonna ask is, do you love yourself?
That's a really good question, man. Yeah, actually, no, I do. I know. Actually, no. I know exactly deep down. Man, deep down, I think I'm the fucking shit. Do you know what I mean?
Great. I love that. And deep down, I think that as well. And a lot of the time, or definitely in the last 2 years, I haven't felt that was true to myself or something that as much as I felt it deep down, that when I looked at it, it's like, no, or whatever the thing is. But I'm telling you, and I don't know whether... I definitely feel like I'm getting more to that place. I'm getting more to the place where I'm comfortable with myself. And I know this is going to sound crazy as well, but the podcast is a bit of a tool for doing that, because it's just like we're just talking. You don't have to overanalyze our thoughts too much. We can just talk about them and see what they mean.
That's why I talk about this stuff that you actually don't talk about, you know, enough, except at fucking 4 a.m. on nights you can't remember. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also, and it's been maybe hard as well when we're locked down to, you know, you're not getting that right. You're basically stuck alone with yourself quite a lot. Now I know there's people out there in relationships. You know, I kind of wonder how they're getting on. It would make or break you, I guess, man. It would really make or break you.
I think actually it's going to break a lot more than it makes. I'd say
Possibly,
divorce is going to be through the roof or separation after this. And I'd say even if we got some sort of level of statistics now, separation is already through the roof. Or I would say a lot of relationships that were on the cusp of, that were in that mode we talked about, that were in that place of the sort of precursor to breaking up, the start of the degenerative behaviour and all. Anyone who was there, they went
good luck to you.
I'd say.
But I realised that I actually came to this realisation where, like, pretty much all my anxieties and that whatever that erupts in, like these bad, sometimes I have like pointlessly violent fantasies where I justifiably injure someone or something. What is it? It's about, I think it's all to do with how I'm perceived.
My brother,
yeah.
For some reason, because he has done enough in my time for me to fucking beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And I have these weird violent
So you
fantasies. Like,
think,
even to the point where I was like,
how much would I enjoy
fingers.
that? Yeah.
What is that about?
I'm
so glad you said that, because I don't think I would have admitted that without you saying.
But me personally, man, I think I relate it all back to, I don't think I have any anxieties about really deep down who I am or the value I put on myself, because, you know, you remember when you were a little kid, you just fucking, that was all you had, and you just ran around painting this, doing that. Your imagination was just going fucking crazy, right? I don't think I have a problem with that guy. It's all comes from other people or anxiety, stresses over relationships with other people, right?
Okay, yeah.
And how the world perceives
But
you.
do you think you would have those worries or anxieties about relationships and how the world perceives you if you were totally confident and comfortable with yourself?
But it's you could be, for example, like, let's say you know, it was a talent or something, like it was, you were the greatest artist in the world. Well, you could know you're the greatest artist in the world, but still worry about whether people are going to realise you're the greatest artist in the world or ever treat you as the greatest artist in the world, or will they think you're shite?
But surely, like, and we talk about Patrice O'Neill all the time, like, there's a person who had full confidence in how good he was.
Yeah, I think a part of it...
So then, do you become, by default, that great artist by not actually giving a fuck?
By not, that's the fucking irony of it. That's the irony, and it's...
Catch-22 we talked about relationships.
Well, relationships,
You're
man.
not in it till you don't need it.
Exactly.
You know, you can't really have it till you don't need it.
As soon as you stop
You can't
needing to be with
till you
someone...
don't need to be that good.
Exactly.
Because you're the truth.
Yeah, and that's attractive. People will want a piece of you.
That's the thing, and that's one thing about Patrice O'Neill and his adoptive daughter or whatever his stepdaughter talks about. It's like, he was the fucking truth.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you should be striving for in relationships within yourself, is the truth, to be comfortable in the truth.
Yeah, 100%.
The truth of the relationship. Listen, I actually, for one, a little takeaway from that, I think what we're trying to express, and there's multiple reasons why you should, is to love yourself, but maybe the most easy one to not diminish or dismiss or criticize is the fact that the opposite of loving yourself is being unhappy, I think.
Yeah,
Who the fuck is going to choose that? You know, if you had a real choice to love yourself or be unhappy, it's so obvious the choice you should and would take is to love yourself. So just go right ahead and do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't wait for the world to love you. Love yourself by being the truth.
Boomska, I really enjoyed this episode, and I thought
that was a great one, actually, man. I felt really good.
I felt like I was coming in hot last week, and now just was some nicer vibes. Okay.
That's it.